Hey Dreamers, this is Jade, and the Gratitude Documented series for 2019 is complete. I did every entry, I kept up with it, I completed my journal, so I wanted to do the flip here. So let's just jump right into it. You guys know what my cover looks like, and I have the video on that. If you're interested, I will link it up here, the intro video on how I made it. And so just on the inside cover, I shrunk down the prompt list, and I made a title page to let me know that this journal is gratitude documented for 2019. And so the first day, the theme is God winks, and the corresponding scripture is Romans 8:31. I will not be reading through the scriptures because I did that in my process videos. However, I did make a little note on this day. I had a biopsy, and I was a little bit worried, so as I was checking in, I just was repeating to myself, I am in perfect health, I am in perfect health, I am in perfect health. And I happened to look down behind me, and on the ground was it was a heart-shaped piece of paper. I don't know where it came from or whatever, but it was there. And to me, that was God winking, saying, hey, everything's good. You're going to be okay. And as far as I know, everything is okay. They got the results from my biopsy, of course, weeks ago, and no one's called to say anything. So me, I'm a no news is good news type of person. So yeah. And then the next day, the theme was rainbows. So this is how I decorated the page for that. And the corresponding scripture was Genesis 9, verses 13 through 16. And I love the rainbow as God's promise. So the next day, day 3, the theme was meekness. And the corresponding scripture was Psalms 37:11. And the next day, it was self-control. And the scripture was Luke 22:40. Love the colors on these pages. And the next 2 days, days 5 and 6, I kind of just pulled out my Jen Hadfield stuff. I used her a lot in here because it just was appropriate for this project. However, the theme for day 5 is sanctification, and the corresponding scripture was Acts 26:18. And for day 6, it was refuge, and the corresponding scripture was Psalm 62, verses 5 through 8. The next 2 days was day 7 and day 8, and I think this may be one of the only... Nope, this one and the next one I think are the ones I did not do process videos on. Anyway, this was salvation, the theme, and the scripture I did on this little tag and kind of tucked it into a pocket I made. And so it is John 3:16. Oh, I like John 3:16. And so yeah. And then day 8 was testimony, and it was Matthew 10:32. So, and then the next day, the theme was wonder. This is day 9, and the scripture is Luke 5:26. And then the next day, day 10, is discipleship, and the scripture is 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 2. So 2:22. Okay. I really like the way that I actually like the way all of them turned out, but I really like the colors and things on these pages here. This one I was experimenting with my glimmer mist from Tattered Angels, and I could not have anticipated that this would turn out so well. I really do like this spread here. Anyway, day 11 was glory, and the corresponding scripture was Ezekiel 11:22. And the next day was day 12, of course, and it was scripture. And then the corresponding scripture is John 1:1. The only thing about this one is this scripture kind of blends into this page, so I may end up changing these out. But anyway, let's go to the next one. I really love the way this turned out too. I love the colors in it. And the next day, day 13, the theme is mercy, and scripture is Micah 7:18. And day 14 is discipline, Proverbs 3:12. And the next day, the theme was home. So I just lettered out home is where the heart is. And the corresponding scripture is Philippians 4:19. And the next day is family. And this corresponding scripture is Psalm 78:4. I'm sorry, I got that wrong. I'm looking at this. It's legacy, which is kind of family because your family is your legacy. But you guys, it's legacy. Anyway, and then the next day I had to, some of these pages are actually doubled up because they're thin or whatever, and it actually ended up being perfect as far as when I get to the end of the journal, you'll see. Anyway, I finally got into the middle here. Day 17, the theme is hope, and it is Romans 15:13, and day 18 is heritage, and it is Psalm 119 verse 111. That is a long scripture. The next day, it is forgiveness, and that is Psalm 103 verse 12. And then the next day is new song, and that is Revelation 5:19. The next day, really love the way this spread turned out as well, was day 21, and the theme is edify, and it is Romans 14:3. And of course, the next day is prayer, the theme, and the scripture is Hebrews 5:7. And the next day, this is day 23. We are on petition, and the scripture is Lamentations 2:18. And then we have love. I love this scripture, and it is 1 Corinthians 13:13. And I will read this one, and it just says, and now these three remain, faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these is love. And the next day, 25, this is my blackout spread. I love it. Is Romans 12:15, and the theme is compassion. And then on day 26, you have generosity, and the scripture is 1 Timothy 6:18. So yeah, we're getting to the end here. So day 27 is protection, and you have the scripture of Philippians 4:7. And then this one is family. Day 28 is family, and the scripture is Psalm 68:6. And the last days, day 29 is restoration, and that scripture is Deuteronomy 33. And then the very last theme is friendship. I love this little sticker here. And the corresponding scripture is Proverbs 27 verses 9 through 11. And to end it, I just used a sticker from one of my Happy Planner sticker packs that says start each day with a grateful heart, and put some of the little hearts around it for decoration. So that is it for this. I am so glad I participated in this year. I am proud of myself. I'm actually completing the project, and it really kind of pushed and tested my limits of my creativity to come up with different layouts each day. So it was challenging, and I love that. And it also, in the meantime, gave me an appreciation for the way that I had been doing my gratitude journaling. So all in all, it was a success for me. I most likely will be participating in it next year, and I hope some of you who didn't do it this year will join me. And those who did, please let me know your Instagrams, your channels. If you have anything like that, I'd love to know. Leave that below. And I will catch you all in the next video. Thank you all for subscribing to my channel, for hanging in there with me with this series, and coming back and leaving me comments and messages. I really appreciate you guys. If you're new here, consider doing the same, and hit the bell icon to get the notifications of when I post, usually Mondays and Fridays. And I will catch you all on the next one. Bye.